Welcome back to Dome on the Range. I'm your host, Griffin Post. Got my right hand man, Matt Varsha, sitting next to me. Matt,
Hello,
how we
everybody.
doing?
How are we doing? Quite well.
Today in the Dome, we have none other than Veronica Paulson. You may know her as the first woman to land a backflip into Corbett's, but she's much more than that. Ski juror, film producer, and perhaps one of the most dedicated athletes I've ever met. Not to mention an upstanding human being. The V, general vibes check. How's it going?
Good. Wow, Griff. Thank you. That was such a nice intro.
Oh yeah, of course. No, you've
Those are
been
some high praise.
Yeah,
High praise. Yeah.
yeah. I don't say that about just anybody like you.
not every guest on the
Oh no,
podcast.
it's a
Nice.
personalized intro, and you're on the mend.
I am. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. Got injured at Kings and Queens, but luckily it wasn't too bad of an injury. So I'm about 3 weeks out and feeling a lot better.
And I mean, I think everybody's kind of dying to know. Like, take us through what happened. Like everybody watched it, but I know experiencing it is a lot different than just being a armchair quarterback like Matt and I here.
Mostly.
Totally. Yeah, well, I guess I'll start with we had a bit of a slow start to the winter, so it took a while for the couloir to fill in. And then when it did fill in, it came with a lot of wind. So it really was soft and only piling up on that left side, skier's left side of the couloir. And they kept telling us that the right side was pretty firm. So everyone was pointing their jumps to that left rock wall and trying to get as close to that. Also, I was running 17th, which is super late. So I tried my best. I took off on the way left side of the jump. I like put my tree markers down and made sure I was the right direction. And pointed left, but I must have had a weird lean or something because you can see in the video, I take off all the way on the left side pointing left and I just like drift right. Which like a little bit of drift can equal like 15 feet of drift by the time you're down there. So I ended up pretty far right and it felt pretty firm when I hit the ground. I felt my knee because I was pretty close to my feet, but I was just barely on my heels. But enough that I thought I could kind of like maybe backslap and ride it out. But my heels dug in and my knee went right into my chest and I heard a big crack and felt a lot of pain. So I knew that I probably broke my sternum. But I've known people that have broken their sternums that way before, so I wasn't too worried about it. I know it's kind of like a rib. Tumbled, and then as soon as I was managed to stop myself and was laying there, I noticed I had a lot of pain in my neck too. And anytime I tried to move or shift positions or stand up, it would shoot pain down my neck. So that was my biggest worry.
Totally.
And yeah, and I mean, we all know like if you think you've broken your back, you're supposed to just stabilize and stay still. So that's what I did, and luckily ski patrol was on it and they were awesome.
Yeah.
They really took care of me. I was in a lot of pain and they made me feel better. And I didn't even know this because I couldn't see anything while I was down there, but they rappelled me down like half the couloir.
Oh really?
Is that true? Did you guys see that?
I
I was at
see
the
it.
top, so I didn't really
Yeah.
get
Oh
that.
yeah. Because apparently I was pretty high up and where it was still steep and they didn't want to just have people hanging on to me. So I guess they rappelled me down.
Yeah, on the live stream,
until-
we just kind of cut it out and we're showing replays
Yeah.
of other stuff. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you weren't on site, yeah, you didn't get to see, which was nerve wracking
know.
as a watcher. You know,
Yeah,
you're like,
my parents were freaking out. My parents thought they I wish they said something like some update because I think they cut out before I even started moving.
it was pretty quick.
or
Yeah.
wiggling.
Once they realized
Yeah.
you weren't going to be moving yourself down the mountain, I think they
Yeah.
cut away pretty fast. At least from
I know.
from the video aspect of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they at least said like she's conscious, she's moving all her limbs or something like that because
Once you cruised down to the bottom, they said that you were given a wave or a thumbs up. Yeah.
Oh, good.
So they gave a little nod, but it was just a long period of time, and I think that people that are watching are like,
Yeah.
whoa, so what's
yeah,
going
the chat.
on?
My sister was watching. There's a chat on the YouTube live stream.
Oh yeah.
And she said everyone was trolling in the chat. Everyone was saying R.I.P.
Oh, no.
My sister's there freaking
Yeah.
out.
She had a good run. Yeah.
I felt like the level of enthusiasm from everybody watching and like cheering for you was so authentic and legit. There was very few people that I like read or saw that had anything like negative to say. It seemed like so much overwhelming support. Not that, people are cheering for everybody in that contest, but I felt like, I don't know, what everybody watching your journey, a lot of people wanted you to land it. And it was just cool to see that, like, that very positive environment versus, I don't know, the trash fire the internet can turn into sometimes.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I was worried about that. Yeah, I've had so much support from everyone, and I wish I landed it too, but I'm really grateful everyone had my back. And then even when like got injured, I thought that there might be some pushback. People are always quick to call you reckless or say you made a wrong decision or something, but I barely had any of that. Like everyone was giving me support, so that was really cool to see.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And when you're practicing or like when you're, training preseason, are you trying to find that cliff or that same setup to Corbett's? I mean, obviously you can't find it, but you can at least, build a jump that you're going to fall away for whatever 40 feet off a cliff or something and like mimic those conditions.
Yeah, yeah. So the biggest first when I was first learning double backflips, I was just trying to find a nice regular pow jump. The biggest difference with Corbett's I found is that step down feeling. Because with a normal jump, you can feel yourself, going up, the apex going down. But just when you're falling, it's like so hard to tell how much longer you have, especially when you're upside down. But there's tons of great places in the Tetons to practice. Luckily, we have like road gaps and cliffs everywhere. So I had like 3 or 4 spots in mind that I knew I wanted to hit before Corbett's. And then it's all just weather dependent if you can get there. So um yeah, I had a good group of guys helping me this year. That was an issue last year. I couldn't find a ton of people that wanted to come build a jump
Right.
big
Yeah.
enough
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
me
Totally.
because there's like not that many
People
people
like,
that
no, I'm
want to
good.
huck doubles off a
I'm
step
good on
down.
that.
But I got put in this group chat this year with the Jackson Hole Ski Club free ride coaches, and they
Cool.
were all
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that was fun.
So you had the Groms out there like cheering
No,
or
no,
the
just the
coaches.
coaches. Yeah, yeah, on their days off.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I feel like for ski and snowboard competitions, no matter if it's like the X Games and it's, big air, it's a really hard thing to put on a screen for people to watch and be like, "Oh, this is how far they're traveling." People are, friends come to town, they're like, "I want to do Corbett's." And they're like, "Oh." They like look at it from the bottom, they're like, "Oh, that's different than I was picturing it." And you're like, "Yeah, it's like a large a large a large gap from the lip at the top to where you would touch the snow next. Like
Oh yeah.
it's hard to really like gather how big of a space you're really going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wild.
I mean, that's the story of skiing in general. You pick something out and
Yeah,
then you get on
totally.
top of it and you're
It's
like,
30 feet.
what was that? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's 50.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that first person view where you're like, I can't see anything.
Right.
This is
Oh
way
yeah.
scarier, especially Corbett's looks like you're just going to go to the moon
Right.
Yeah.
and
Fully
Which you kind of
blind.
are.
And you just see rock walls and you're actually trying to point towards a rock
Right.
wall. Yeah.
It goes
Gnarly
against
takeoff.
all natural instinct, I feel like.
yeah, and like drifting, as you're saying, 15 feet to the right is not ideal, but it's probably better than drifting 15 feet to the left.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, for sure. That's true.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
more forgiving over there, less rock for
Yeah.
the most part.
just taking it back to the beginning, you didn't really grow up in a household of skiers. You were in the Bay Area, and skiing was very much. I mean, didn't seem like the family like weekend getaway. So how did you end up here? Like,
It's very random. Yeah, I always think that you have all these different branches that could be your life, and I picked like the one super tiny possibility of a life.
in the
but
multiverse, you're
in the
like, this
multiverse,
is
yeah.
not a
No,
common
this is
outcome.
right. But one of my best friends, who's still my best friend to this day, but my best friend in second grade, she came from a big skiing household. So she invited me up a couple times. She was on the race team. And I fell in love with it and found out that I could like kind of keep up with her and these other kids that had been doing it since they were 3. Went home and begged my mom to join the team. But my mom at the time I'd probably started second grade, you're like 8. So started doing it a couple times a year. And then when I was 12, begged my mom to get me on the team, and she called the race team, and the race team said, "No way, she's too old. She's like not going to be able to keep up. She's not going to do well in
Sorry, at
races."
what
Like
age were you too old? 12?
12,
Like, nope,
12.
she missed her window.
Yeah, exactly. So my mom was confused, but then she called up the freestyle team, and they were like, "Hell yeah, we'll take her, no problem." I had to try out because I hadn't done, like Mighty Mites and all those things that those kids do.
Right.
So I had to have a tryout day, and as soon as they saw I could keep up, I was on the team.
Like
But
a Aspen Extremes
this-
style tryout, like line up at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah,
First
yeah,
one down,
something
most
like
trips.
that.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
common theme that we're hearing from some people that have been on the show, though. It's a lot of times the race team is not the way that people get involved. Like,
Yeah.
people end up joining. In Dylan's case, even snowboard freestyle team. He wasn't on the ski team. Period. Yeah, the
Oh, really?
freestyle people seem to be a bit more accepting than the race people.
Racers are a bunch of nerds.
Bunch of nerds.
Definitely.
But it's interesting how that happens. So you're kind of you're going a couple times a week to this.
Just on weekends because it was the Bay Area going up to
Right.
Tahoe. So, and yeah, I would a lot of times just go with some friends that I made on the team or that one friend that I was talking about from before. But my dad started driving me up, which looking back on it, I didn't realize at the time how crazy it was, but he doesn't ski and he would drive 3
Hang out.
hours, spend the weekend with me in Tahoe, kind of just hanging out, and then drive back.
Where were
Wow.
you skiing growing up?
Palisades.
Right.
Mhm. Palisades
Yeah. So
freestyle.
your dad was coming and just hanging, putting the vibe out at the base of the mountain.
Oh yeah, and he was like, "I love the mountains. I love,"
Yeah, it's a
but he's just hanging
Great
out there.
great
so.
jump. Good
Yeah.
turn.
Yeah, our mogul run was actually right at the base, so he could
Right.
watch my training.
That's cool.
That's some awesome commitment from your parents, though. Just it makes
I-
like hockey practice look pretty mellow.
Oh yeah.
Like,
So did you end up kind of parlaying, like childhood ski team? Was that something that you were going to do in college, or was it something that you tried to do in college?
Well, I did it. I kept doing it through
Mhm.
college because I did moguls, which isn't a college sport like racing. They don't have it
Right.
at all. But I was on the NORAM tour, so I would take the winters off of school because I went to Colorado College where we
The
do
block.
the
Yeah.
block. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know it. So I could take blocks off in the winter and catch up in the summer. And I'd move to Park City in the winter.
Right.
And join their mogul team, do the NORAM tour.
were your like college classmates supportive of this, or were they like, oh,
Oh,
these
yeah.
just disappeared again for 3 months?
Oh yeah, a bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, they it's Colorado College is like a very unique educational experience, so everyone's kind of doing unique stuff. So it didn't really like throw people off. But I definitely felt like I had to catch up when I got back. But yeah.
When you were in Park City, were you? I mean, I know that especially like women's freestyle mogul skiing has had like a really in the States had like a big kind of push, like a really good class of skiers. Were you coming up with like with a lot of those people that ended up competing in the Olympics over the past couple Olympics, or
Yes. So nowadays they are quite a bit younger than I was.
12 too old?
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Jalen Koff was around when I was competing. And it's so strange at mogul skiing. When I was first coming up mogul skiing, all the Olympic mogul skiers were like 30.
Mhm.
And then lately it's been you're like more like 18 to 25.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So you're kind of
Oh.
caught in the middle age of being like on Olympic team or on just kind of like the like local circuit, I guess.
Yeah. The NORAM circuit is like one level below World
Yeah.
Cup. So, but you have to like win the NORAM circuit to get to that next
Right.
level. I was always kind of like middle of the pack NORAM.
Yeah.
When you see like a zipper line in a mogul field, are you still tempted? You're like, oh, I got
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I still love it, especially when it gets springtime here and slush
It's
bumps.
like,
That's like, yeah. I wish I kept some mogul skis.
Right.
I sold them
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Should have kept one pair.
Should be ripping the mogul skis and the kings and queens.
I should be.
Is that where you learned
Yeah.
your backflips? Was from
Yeah.
freestyle mogul?
Oh yeah, because we do them over
Yeah,
and
I'm
over
sure,
and over
yeah.
again.
Yeah, that's great.
Was there like a bittersweet moment of when you hung up the mogul skis, or were you like, oh, I can ski real skis. Not that mogul skis aren't real skis, but they're
A
not
bit
as
of both.
versatile.
Yeah. I was definitely the kid that was always bringing, like, you're supposed to bring 2 sets of mogul skis to your comps, and I would bring 1 set of mogul skis and 1 set of POW skis. Um, and then if I
For your
didn't make
side work.
finals,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
if I didn't make finals, I'd be like, whatever, I'm gonna go ski
Yeah.
POW. But I definitely just like I did it maybe a little bit too long, because I wasn't super successful at it. I wasn't at a point where I was going to make the US team or World Cup. So,
Passion project for you. You just liked it.
yeah, I thought I was going to make it
Right.
eventually. And then eventually you're 21 and you're like, okay, maybe it's not
The
going to happen for me.
17-year-olds are ripping, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Alright."
Yeah.
Was that kind of your foray? Like, did you have the vision when you were kind of realizing that you were coming to the end of your mogul skiing days, that you were going to try to pursue skiing in a different
Freeride?
in a different avenue?
Yeah. I started at Palisades, which is like one of the birthplaces of free
Yeah.
ride. Um, So that's like where my first love for skiing started. And I remember even throughout my mogul career, like always telling my coaches I wanted to try free ride comps. That was kind of the beginning of IFSA. So it was always on the back of my mind. And I kind of felt like, oh, like I finally have time now to really give it a go.
Right. Yeah. It's a little different schedule on the free ride
Yeah.
tour than it is on the mogul tour, I'm sure.
And like, how does the competition scene, I guess the vibe compared to like moguls compared to free ride, except coming from the racing world, it was so serious. And if there's
Yeah.
100 kids at a race, there's one kid that's happy and 99 that are like kind of pissed off at the end of the day. Whereas like free ride, it was more of this like party festival vibe. And was
Oh,
that
yeah.
more similar to moguls or?
It's Racing is pretty similar to moguls, actually. Like my first free ride comp, I was like shocked. I was like, wait, this is so fun. Everyone's so nice. People are like talking to each other about their lines and helping each
Right.
other. Mogul skiing was pretty intense.
Nobody's messing with each other's din. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Don't touch my skis.
Yeah.
Was there like a person growing up in Palisades that you remember being like seeing skiing around, or like a pro skier that stands out to you where you're like, I want to do what they do? Like, I want to be like that.
Yeah. Jackie Peso.
Yeah.
She was a coach on the freestyle team that I
Oh,
was on
cool.
for a little bit. So, she was coaching more of the free ride stuff, but I would get her every now and
Totally.
then. And that year that she made the tour, she was a wild
Mhm.
card. And she was just the local wild card. Like, she didn't have sponsors or
Right.
anything. And she was just rolled up and was like, I'm going to hit the biggest cliff on this face and I'm going to stomp the shit
Yeah,
out of
yeah,
it.
was that when she did like the drifter? Or was that
It
before
was in,
she was on the free ride world tour?
it was her first, it's probably, you've seen it. It's like a viral clip from, the main line, or I forget what the venue is called, but the Palisades Free World Tour
Yeah,
event.
and
it was
she
her
back
first.
slaps and like
Yes, that
catches like
one.
another 30 feet of air. And
Yeah, exactly. And that's how she got on the Free Ride World Tour. And then she had like this 10-year career winning all these comps. But I just remember seeing her, like, she was always pushing it and didn't really like, she wasn't playing the game and trying to get points and trying to,
Right.
do whatever. She was just like, I'm going to be the most badass
I'm gonna go straight
skier
off
you've
all the
ever
stuff.
seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the bottom,
And
I'll
I
land
just-
on my feet, and then I'll win.
Yeah. She was cool. She was an intimidating coach
Yeah.
to have, for sure. If you ever were like,
I mean, I remember her.
I'm
yeah, like,
nervous.
a powerhouse in the scene for sure.
yeah, and she kind of had that like emo vibe that
Yeah.
era. She was intimidating all around. Like,
Yeah. So the boys on the team were scared of her for sure.
Yeah.
In a good
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
That's what I wanted. I was like, I just want people to be
Right.
scared.
I'm looking for intimidation factor here.
if that's
Yeah.
your goal, I
Yeah.
hate to break this to you, but you're not doing a great job.
Dang it.
So have Palisades, and then at this point, have you moved to Jackson starting the free ride?
So yeah, kept doing moguls through college. Right when I was gonna graduate college was kind of the turning point of like, do I keep skiing or do I go get a desk job somewhere? I wanted to, I mean, this is the classic Jackson story, but I was like, I'll do one more ski bum year and, just make myself like skiing again because I was getting really burnt
Yeah.
out on bumps. And at the time, I was deciding between Tahoe, Utah, and Jackson. And Tahoe had just had those 4 drought years, which were so bad. They like could barely open the lifts for like 4 years in a row. So that was out of the question. And Utah, I had already been living in Park City and wanted to change. And I had never been to Jackson. I didn't know anybody here and just saw it in the movies. I was like, that's where I'm going to
Sight
go.
unseen.
Yeah.
Yeah, sight unseen.
You're like, it's got to
Yeah.
be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I was the same way. Yeah,
Really?
very similar. I went to school in Colorado, and I was like, no. Maybe I'll go to Telluride. And then my friend called me and was like, you should go to Jackson. Okay, I'm going to go to Jackson now. And that was the
Sure.
one, one winter Jackson adventure, and turned into 15 years.
Yeah.
So you weren't,
Yeah.
but you weren't like moving here with like, you weren't like, I'm going to try to like break onto the scene of like professional skiing. I just want to go and kind of soul shred and, kind of regain my love for skiing in a relaxed manner. Or were you coming out with like kind of an agenda and a chip on your shoulder after your mogul skiing?
Kind of. The goal was to try the free ride
Right.
comps and to come to Jackson to train for the free ride
Right.
comps. And yeah, so I signed up for all of those comps, and that took up like all of March. But yeah, it was funny. My first free ride comp was like a 2-star, and I got like 4th place, but that was better than anything I'd done in mogul
Right.
skiing. So I was
You're
like,
hell yeah.
I was like, I'm so
yeah,
sick at this.
free ride is my thing. I'm way
Yeah.
better at this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were just kind of traveling around, living out of the back of your car kind of thing, like going event to event? What-
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I found someone here. This this woman Terry. So I was living
Mhm.
here. But eventually the end of the competition schedule, eventually you're kind of just on the road.
And were your parents like giving you the thumbs up to pursue this dream?
They were stoked that I kept skiing because they knew I loved it and I'd put all this time into it.
And your
But there was
dad had
definitely
put
a
a lot of
moment.
time into it too.
And my
My
dad had
dad's
put
like,
a
you
lot of
better
time into
sort
it.
this
Yeah.
out. I
Yeah.
didn't drive to Palisades for this.
He helped me move up here. He helped me pack my car and drove up here with me. And there was a moment where like we got all the stuff out of the car and I drove him to the airport and he was like walking away and he like paused for a second and turned around and he was like, Are you sure you're gonna be okay? Like you don't know anyone here.
Aw.
And I was like, I'll be
I can
fine.
sort it
Go.
out. Just going to put
Yeah.
the vibe out in the base area and end up running into somebody on the chair.
I did. I ended up running into this girl that I knew from mogul skiing
Oh, no way.
back in the day. Ariel.
Ariel, yeah.
Yeah. And she knew everyone
Yeah.
in town. So that was my
Yeah,
end.
yeah, that's awesome. So you kind of organically created like a little group of free ride skiers that you had known from past and people that you had met in Jackson, and then kind of went off on the tour and just ended up doing well and qualifying for the next year. Or how did that work?
Yeah, back then there wasn't as many free ride competitors, so all it took was like 1 or 2 2-star events, and I had qualified for all the 4
Right.
stars. And that's how I met like Kate and Griffin Dunn and Teton. All those guys were doing the comps as
Mhm.
well. So
There was a
Um,
Jackson crew.
there was a
posse,
Jackson crew,
Yeah.
traveling around.
which makes it
together.
a lot easier. I feel like once you have some other people kind of coming from the same spot.
Oh yeah.
Better for training, better for travel, better for
Mhm.
camaraderie.
Yeah.
Oh
that's
yeah.
the vibe.
Oh yeah.
General
Like,
stuff.
Yeah, it made it so
yeah,
fun.
that's great.
Yeah.
So you have a pretty good background at Palisades and at Jackson. So we have this segment that we should think of a better name, but it's basically trivia questions, and it's catered to specifically Palisades and Jackson trivia.
Okay.
How you feeling about your knowledge on these areas?
I feel like I have a lot of knowledge. If it's going to be specific dates or specific years or something, I'm probably not going to do
Specific
well.
snowfall amounts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
what
yeah,
year was
exactly.
it this much snow?
All right. Question 1. Who was the first skier to do a switch front flip?
I didn't know this one.
I don't, but I'm gonna guess McConkey.
Correct.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
That's the
Awesome.
correct answer. I just stared blankly. I didn't know. I gave up.
It's fair. That's a response too.
I don't know. How many NAR points is a butt naked run worth?
Oh, 10,000?
That's what I thought too. It's actually 5.
5?
heard the documentary.
Okay.
I thought it was 10,000 too. So
It's the highest
it
though, right?
is.
Is there anything high?
Yeah.
Okay, 5.
actually stealing somebody's clothes while they're doing a BN is the same amount of points.
Okay.
So if you're smart,
Really?
You can double up.
I did not know that was the same amount of points.
What is the person that stays at the top of the tram in Corbett's cabin every night of the winter called?
Night creature.
Night creature.
Night creature is correct.
I did that once.
Oh, it's a pretty good experience. Like,
It's so fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good vibe. Did they
Especially
still
in the
do it?
summer. They do it in the
R-
summer
really?
too. Oh yeah.
It's a nice perk of the job.
Yeah.
I think
tons of waffles.
unlimited waffles. I
We
would
did,
assume.
yeah, we did it once and we
Yeah.
burned a lot of waffles and we're
JHMR, he didn't do that. He didn't do that. He wasn't using that.
all right. Well, we got one more question, but it's for audience members. And if you know the answer, drop it in the comments and we'll send you a bunch of Cruxley Field Goods swag. And it's probably a good time to point out that this whole podcast is produced off portable solar power and battery banks. Cruxley Field Goods, 4 times more watts per pound than anything else that's out there. Yeah, support the cause. And if you know who the first woman to drop into SNS in Jackson Hole, leave in the comments and yeah, we'll pick a random winner. Good luck. Do you know the answer to this, V?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know how you want to go.
Can I
about it.
guess?
Yeah.
Or should I not? Because
Yeah, throw out a
Viewers.
name.
Jess McMillan.
I think that's a really good guess.
That is a good guess.
Yeah. She was going to be a guest on the show here in the coming episode. So we'll have to check with
Is it-
her.
Pre Jess or post?
Free Jess.
Okay.
Cool. Anyway, so back, into Corbett's and that whole area or that chunk of rock on the mountain. Do you think, did you have a moment when you're doing the contest and whether it's just laying down a good run or getting the actual exposure that you were like, okay, this might work. Like I can do this. And there's a future beyond just having fun traveling around with friends.
Yeah, it was definitely 2020. Well, I probably actually had that moment earlier in 2018, the first time I tried the backflip into Corbett's, because that was the first time I felt like that I was like, kind of at the top of the game, trying something that no one had done before, and I felt comfortable doing it. That's kind of when I felt like really confident in my abilities.
First event, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And regardless if you land it or not, the fact that you're stepping up to the plate like that is just such a
Exactly.
confidence boost.
Yeah.
I remember specifically talking with Griffin after the event because Griffin was in it as well.
Did not
Right,
do a
I
backflip.
remember.
It was year one, and I was doing the PA announcement for the event down at the finish line. And I remember talking to Griff, just kind of shooting the shit after the day had wrapped, and I was just like, I was like, man, I really wish more people, classic someone who's not in the event. I was like, I really wish more people had landed what they were trying, and he was like, well, fuck, man, Veronica threw a fucking backflip into Corbett's. The fact that people are doing that kind of thing is insane. It really kind of got me back in my humble shoes and was like, oh yeah. That, yeah, totally. I mean, it was just it was kind of something. I think even talking with Jess before the event, I don't think she kind of thought it was going to be as heavy as it was with everybody, going so big and trying so many things that really hadn't been tried in Corbett's before.
It's wild how quickly it ran.
That escalated quickly, didn't it?
Yeah.
It really did.
I straight aired off the nose.
Yeah.
And did a
Yeah.
3 or something very conservative. And I think Sandra was behind me and he did a double flat 3 off the nose.
Yeah.
It just absolutely exploded. But I was like, yeah, not bringing that heat.
Griffin's like, I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
Austria next week. I don't want to get too
Yeah.
crazy right now.
I remember because Hans went first the first year. Do you
Yeah.
remember? And he just threw a perfect 3 off the nose, but stomped it, skied away, and everyone saw that and was like, "Okay,
We have to beat
that's
that
what we're gonna
now.
do
Yeah.
today."
No, totally.
And it was kind of before they built any jumps.
Yeah, it was
much more,
pre-lift.
Yeah.
natural.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. the lip started because no one knew, like, there weren't any really rules and nobody knew what we were supposed to do or
Yeah.
not. And the lip started the year that Travis Rice
Right.
came. And he didn't ask anyone. He just grabbed a shovel and started
Yeah.
going at it. And we're like, "Oh, we can do that?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, well, if
Travis,
I'm
you
gonna do
can.
if I'm gonna do
Yeah.
cool shit off here, it's gonna need to be we're gonna
Yeah.
need a little bit of a lip here.
Yeah, and I think Jack or the Kings and Queens, sometimes has a reputation as a bit of like a huck fest, but it's objectively launched a lot of people's careers. Like yourself, Kate, Carl Fosfed to an extent. Like it's a pretty amazing springboard into what comes next.
Mhm.
And I guess how did those doors open for you after you landed the backflip in 2020?
Queen
Mhm.
2020. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that started everything. That was my first like paid ski contract. I got a phone call a couple days after that. Um yeah, got actually my whole kit sponsored, which I was still buying a lot of my own
Yeah.
gear. Um and I was able to call up TGR and ask to be in the movie and didn't get laughed out of the office.
Street cred.
Yeah, so that was cool.
No, I mean it's awesome. I feel like that's like exactly what Jess kind of had in mind for a lot of the athletes that were invited, especially like the early years. It was like some well-established people, but then a lot of, kind of local or regional people that were just kind of floating under the radar, but were really ripping it up. And people were giving like a lot of online credit for people, for skiers and snowboarders. But I feel like it really launched, more than a handful of people's careers of starting to get, whether it's, sponsor looks or ski movie looks. And I was asking Griff this, um, before this year's. I was like, Veronica's going again. I was like, man, like at a certain point, it feels like Kings and Queens kind of has like this lifespan, and it's got to be hard when you've won the crown and the pay is good, the exposure is great, but it's like super high risk, right? And at a certain point, you have to be kind of, looking ahead when you really want to be kind of focused on Kings and Queens. You're like, okay, well, I have this project or that project, this trip that I want to go do. So at what point do you think you'll kind of hang up the crown and kind of do kind of the more traditional pro skier lifestyle, I
Mhm.
guess, or pro skier schedule?
I think pretty soon. I haven't fully decided one way or another, and I would never say that like I'm totally
Right.
done and never gonna do it again. But I do think I want to take a step away from
Yeah.
it at least for a little bit because I put so much. It takes up so much time and
Yeah,
energy
totally.
to train for it, and all of January basically I have blocked off just to prepare and train for it. So I'm excited to try some new things, be able to travel a little more and put my sights on some other ski goals. Um, but yeah, I never had like injury on my mind, like, oh,
Yeah,
I can't do this because I might get
sure.
injured. Um,
That's why I'm not in it. But it's the only reason. But yeah, it really stuck out to me. I was like, she's doing it again. Like, I wonder if she's like, you know, if she ever thought about passing on it this year or whatever it is. Like,
I wanted one more go at the
yeah,
double. Um,
yeah,
but now that I've done that, I'm kind of feeling
right.
like I want to move
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
And
yeah, totally.
so you started filming with TGR. It was both Magic Hour and Stoke the Fire. Like, how'd that transition to filming go from like instead of like contest to actually like? I mean, it's a grind, especially if you're filming around Jackson. You're a
It
hustler.
is a
Big,
grind.
big
Yeah,
change up. Yeah,
yeah. I definitely didn't realize. I like assumed it was going to be easier than competing because you're like, oh, you can wait for the right conditions, you can do whatever. But yeah, you don't realize that you're kind of doing it every day, and especially when it's good, you're going like 7 days in a row or more.
And even when it's not good, sometimes you're just
And
like,
even when it's not good,
nope, this is what we do.
right? Yeah, even though none of it's going to end up in the movie.
Totally.
right.
Um, yeah, it was a shock. But the first year was Stoke the Fire, and I was paired with Kate and Jim. So, and I had already known them for a long
Yeah.
time. We were good friends, so that was just a really good vibe.
And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that you hustle all year and then there's like the night of the premiere and you haven't seen the movie either. And so everything is kind of a surprise to you. And and speaking from personal experience, that night can be really great, or it can be like kind of heartbreaking when you some of the shots that you worked so hard for just don't make it for one reason or another. I guess, did you like have those moments of like at the premiere where you always like, heck yeah, that was awesome, or like, dang,
Yeah. I kind of had more of the latter
Yeah.
because we had we actually had a tough year filming because we had a really high snow February, and but we also had really high avalanche danger. I don't know if you remember that year. It's
yeah,
2021. Um, so it was tough for us to get into anything like that would look cool enough to
Right.
see. I think our segment just ended up we filmed all these days, like all year, and our segment ended up being like one POW day, like the one super overhead blower POW day that we
Yeah.
filmed. Um, yeah, and I was bummed about a few things that hit the cutting room floor. There was a couple times when I got to go out with Kai and Tim, which was super fun, and we skied some no name cliffs and some stuff on the snowmobile to some stuff on the Victor side. Um, yeah, and that was a bummer. I didn't really get any warning that that wasn't going to be in the film at all, and it feels like kind of embarrassing in the moment, like all your friends there,
Right.
and then you're only in the movie for like 5 minutes,
Right.
maybe. um,
no,
yeah,
and I've been in that exact same position, and it's like, I'm not trying to like project or anything, but it's just a particularly lonely feeling because everybody's kind of partying and they don't realize the shots that didn't make it. Only you know that.
hmm
And they are kind of just like, oh, that was awesome. You're in it. Like, congratulations. And at the same time, it's, yeah, just kind of heartbreaking a little bit because that's, you know, a year's worth of like grinding and like blood and sweat and tears and a lot of exposure to danger. And um yeah,
yeah,
it's tough. And was that part of the impetus to like break out on your own and kind of start your own?
definitely. Yeah, because I gave it 2 years, Stoked Fire and Magic Hour. Both years we had tough conditions. The second year with Magic Hour, it was just really low snow, and we like barely had any POW days that year, soft snow days that
Yeah.
year. And since I was just a part of the Jackson SEG, I wasn't given the opportunity to travel
Right.
anywhere.
Really
Um,
limits the good days that you could potentially have. Yeah.
yeah, so I just felt like felt like just kind of didn't want to be like stuck beating a dead
Yeah.
horse, and just didn't just kind of realized that I might not get the opportunities there that I wanted, and showcase the type of skiing that like I knew I was capable of, but it's hard to do, and you need the right crew, and you need the right, yeah, the right time. So yeah, I was, and I also realized that like in the TGR film, you spend all day trying to get to this line, or all year you're looking at it, checking the conditions, and then you finally ski it, and it's literally a 30-second
Yeah,
clip. And I'm like, you should show that whole story,
Right.
so
for,
much work.
yeah, there's so much behind that goes into
Yeah. To
it.
the one shot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of showcase actually what we're doing
Right.
for the
Yeah.
audience.
Totally. I I think it's a common misconception that we run into around just in the couple episodes that we've had of, um, people really that there's such a stoke being in a ski movie and being excited about like living your childhood dream, whatever that is, and then there's always this moment of like, oh, it's not. And I'm sure it's that case in like acting in Hollywood or any other like huge thing. You're like, oh, maybe I'll maybe I'm not gonna do this for the rest of my life, kind of thing. I'm
Totally.
gonna do something else. Like you're on the
Yeah.
big screen, and then did you kind of have like an aha moment of talking with friends or putting kind of pen to paper on being like, I think I'm gonna kind of try to curate
Yeah.
my own YouTube channel and come up with my own what were the steps that were kind of taken for you to start
Mhm.
getting into having kind of your own series of shorts.
Well, at the time I was a big fan of Nikolai Schirmer and Cody Townsend, and they were blowing up on YouTube, and I saw the opportunity there. yeah, was really eager to do something myself so that I could control a little
Yeah.
more, and show more of what we're doing. Ended up talking to Kate and Charlotte, and they helped me kind of just like get my vision into, one succinct plan. Um, and Charlotte, who was actually producing while I was at TGR, left TGR, and we ended up just collaborating and like having some really good conversations, and then realizing we wanted to work
Mhm.
together.
Yeah, there's this good Marcus Aurelius quote that I've come back to a few times, and it's your disposition is like a bonfire, overpowering the objects that are thrown onto it. Small fire would be extinguished by them, but a good blaze very quickly appropriates to itself all the objects that are piled on it, consumes them, and uses them to grow greater. Basically, like it's more fuel for the fire. Like
For
being
sure.
able to like take something, whether it's, projection or not doing as well as you could, and using that as like fuel to like build a YouTube series or like instead of being like deterred, having like that much more energy and drive
Yeah.
to do that. And it seems like from an outsider's point of view, like that's like very much what you've been able to do with the YouTube series.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think my whole life from skiing has been a series of pivoting and keeping going. It's
Yeah.
like mogul skiing didn't work out, and okay, freeride comps didn't work out. Okay, filming didn't work out.
A lot of
But
chapters.
a lot
Lot
of
of chapters.
chapters. But I totally could have hung up the skis then, like that year. I had 2 years in a row where I didn't have a great segment in TGR. I actually got dropped by K2 that
Mhm.
year. It was definitely like I could have right then been like, okay, maybe this is actually for
Yeah,
me. Um, but once again, it's like the power of just being like, okay, I'm gonna try one more year, you know,
100%.
and then and then you're like 6 years down the line.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
And
And can you kind of take us through, what that transition's like, I guess? Like, what goes into, you've got, Kate, another skier involved in your series. You've got Char, who's going to do like the production side. Like you said, K2 dropped you after TGR. Like what kind of, process did you have to go through, if any, to kind of, regain steam and gain inertia, like, getting views on the first couple that you get to kind of gain watchers, gain subscribers, gaining
um,
fundraising to do the stuff that you want to do for your series.
yeah. Well, I was really lucky to get linked up with Scott actually through Jackie Peso. And they just understood the vision immediately and were super stoked to hop on. Um, and Charlotte is like the best editor I've ever seen in my life. So, um, yeah, just being committed to like making something that we were really proud of, and she was down to put as much work into it as I was, and um, yeah, I don't know, it was kind of all just a trial by fire. Like we didn't really know what we were doing. Just wanted to make the best thing that we could.
this might be a good time for a guest question from none other than Charlotte Perkle.
Oh,
And I only recently found out her name was Perkle, not Purcell. So, Charlotte, I'm really sorry for however many times I've called you Purcell. But yeah, here's Charlotte.
Hello, my name is Charlotte Perkle. I am a filmmaker here in Victor, Idaho, and I've been working with V on her YouTube series for the past 3 years. So, V, my question for you um, is, in your opinion, what is the hardest thing that you've ever done? I feel like you've had a lot of big challenges and done a lot of crazy things in your ski career, and I've been lucky enough to be there for some of those things. But I was curious, in your opinion, what's the hardest thing that you've ever done? And my second question for you, and this mainly stems from some of the conversations that we've had lately about kings and queens and having big lofty goals. Why is it important to have a goal that you are not sure that you can accomplish, like a big dream that you're going to have to put everything into to see if you can accomplish it? Like, why is that important to you, and how has that helped you in your life and your career? Thank you. Those are my questions.
Thanks, Charlotte.
thanks, Charlotte.
Loaded questions.
Yeah. I'll start with the second question. I think having goals that you're not sure if you can accomplish is like kind of the only way to really push yourself out of your comfort zone and see what you're capable of. Um, yeah, I think like pushing yourself and improving and experiencing new things is like the core principle of human life. It's like what everyone should be doing. And I think having big goals is like, um, just important. Otherwise, I feel like the rest of your life, like kind of, you can end up
Yeah,
settling
pretty stagnant.
and be stagnant. Yeah. And then it can be harder and harder to get out of that.
You don't know where the edge of the box is until you like
Exactly.
really approach it.
Yeah.
Hardest thing you ever done is a tough question, I feel like.
Yeah.
That's a tough question. That's a tough question. Um, hardest thing I've ever done. I'm gonna say I don't. I have a couple. Okay, I think maybe the first double backflip I had to do on snow. That's a big, like, mental barrier to get
And
over.
lofty goal.
And lofty
Yeah.
goal. And I actually did my first one on snow on Old Pass Road Gap, which I do not recommend for your first
Not a
time.
mellow.
It's a
like-
long distance to travel.
Not a mellow jump at all. But I'm also gonna put snowmobiling in there because
I personally
it's
love
so
that.
hard.
I love that. As a non-snowmobiler, type 1 snowmobiler still, very hard.
It's so
It's
hard.
very hard.
I can confirm you're not a great snowmobiler.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
People
great at a
say
lot
it's
of
easy
things,
once
but-
you figure it out. I just haven't figured it out yet, I guess.
No, I don't know if I'll ever figure it out.
It's backwards for me. I got nothing for it.
Yeah, and I feel like if you didn't grow up in like I don't know, with motorsports, it's a hard thing a lot of counterintuitive things going on
Yeah.
snowmobiling.
Yeah, when people ask me why it's so hard for me, I always tell them it took me 3 tries to get my driver's license.
Right.
That's just how I feel about machinery in general.
Motor skills. Yeah.
Was it like the parallel parking driving or
Let's
Nope.
dig into that a little bit.
Just
we have to
driving.
unpack
Yeah.
that a little bit.
Hit a couple
Well-
cones.
But they were cones.
They were cones.
I don't know. Just was not a confident driver.
You're getting in California too. That seems like a high stress place to get in.
It
There's
is.
a lot going
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
A lot of traffic.
How old were you when you finally passed the test?
That's a great question. 19.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you try
Yeah,
from
but
16?
I did. Yeah, but they make you
A
wait
year,
a
yeah.
while each time. And I was about to move to Park City for the first time, and my parents were like pushing me to get my driver's license, and I was pushing back because I was so
You're
scared
like-
of it. I was like, they have buses. I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Maybe
they're like-
driving's just not for me. Snowmobiling and driving, maybe just pass. Yeah, I don't know.
But they were like, no, you have to, like, this is the rule. You have to get
Right.
your license before you go to Park City. And I took the test 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave, failed. And I went back to my parents and they're like, hey, well, you can still go to Park City, but we're not happy about it. It's going to be tough for you. You're going to have to figure
It's
it
so
out.
funny because you're obviously not scared of speed, not scared of heights. Bridges aren't going to be an issue or anything. It's just
It's just the heavy machine. I just feel like stuff
High
can go so
consequence.
wrong.
Yeah.
High consequence.
when you crash the car. It's generally,
Yeah, skiing,
generally
you
a
can just
hard
fall
hit.
and you'll
Yeah.
probably be okay.
Yeah, I can see this.
So maybe the hardest
Yeah.
thing you've ever done is get your driver's license. Is that
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
there we
getting my
go.
driver's license.
You and my brother are
Years
on the
of
same
commitment.
page.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he got his at 18 or 19 just because he had to, because my parents are like, we're not driving you anymore. Which
Yeah.
I think is basically what your parents were trying to tell you. They're like,
Oh,
you're
I
going to
was
need to figure
queen of the
it out.
bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was queen of public transportation. I
you
loved
had the
it.
routes down pat?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Green
Yeah.
line. Perfect. That's going to be great.
like,
Do we have question number 2? Or are you going to get to it later?
Yeah, I think this is a good time for Kate's question. Sure.
Oh.
We have none other than Kate Zeliff. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I think it's Zella.
I go Zello.
Damn it.
You've worked with all these people too.
I
What
have, like, extensively.
How do you think my last name is pronounced? Varshay?
It's Varshay, right?
Yeah, it's Varshay.
Right. Well, anyway, Kate, take it away.
What up, Griff? Hi, Veronica. Kate Zeliff coming in with a guest question for you. V, I was curious. Outside of the King and Queens competition, what has been one of your favorite memories associated with being a pro skier? Curious if maybe there was a day of filming that was really awesome, or a trip that was magic, or maybe just a story that brings you a lot of joy. Stoked to listen to this episode. Ciao!
So yeah, again, I have two. One is with Kate. Actually, we filmed for Nexus, which is an all-female ski movie. And so we got to go on this trip to Revelstoke with all women, not just the athletes, but like the cinematographers, the producers, everyone. And it was just like such good vibes. Like it was so fun. And actually the snow was really terrible and it was really tough to film, but everyone was just like laughing about how terrible it was. And it ended up being like a really fun trip. And we all bonded. So that one's with Kate. And then the other one, I would say the first day of shooting for my YouTube series with Jim Ryan. And it was the first time of like I was producing something. It was the first day of filming for this whole series that we had this idea of, and everything just went amazing. And I remember being like, this is what it could be like. Like, this is what
This
it was
is
supposed to
easy.
be like this is so fun.
Why is it always like
it's
this?
easy. We're doing cool stuff. Yeah.
And that's such a special like confidence boost to have right out of the gate. Like, oh yeah,
Totally.
This is the path.
Yeah.
That's the very first episode that you did. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't
Right.
always go off like that in anything, I feel like, in life. You're like, oh, first episode was a little rocky.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, take us through that process of like conceptualizing the idea of fundraising and kind of getting that any YouTube episode out, because it's a lot more work
Yeah.
behind the scenes than I think people realize.
Totally. I think for conceptualizing it, I really liked the idea of focusing on like a guest athlete. Because that it kind of makes it easier to pitch if it's about a bunch of other pro skiers. That way I don't just have
Totally.
to pitch myself being like,
Right.
it's about me.
I'm
'cause
doing another
sick, you know?
6 ski day, and you're going to want to watch it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I loved the idea of, and like, I mean, you know this, when we meet like so
Totally.
many people through skiing and everyone's got like their little routines and their little kooky vibes, and it's cool to
Right.
show
Yeah,
everyone
totally.
that. So yeah, once we landed on that kind of like a like a post
Yeah.
post
A little
and
more
guest show.
personality going
Um,
into it, too. You get to like an expose
Yeah.
of the person more so than the line.
And
Yeah.
you can switch it up every episode. You can dabble in like all these
Yeah.
different types of skiing, and you get a new face every episode, so it doesn't get
Yeah.
like
Doesn't get
And
stale.
if
Doesn't
you're
get
sick
old.
of somebody, it's just one episode.
Yeah.
So like there's always a light
This
at the end of the
person is the
tunnel.
Exactly.
worst. We'll do this episode and get rid of them.
Exactly. So that made it easier for me to pitch it like super enthusiastically. Um, but yeah, behind the scenes, pitching, permitting, all that stuff. Getting everyone on board and getting everyone's timelines to match up is kind of a lot. And you know that for our episode we had 3 the plan A, B, and
Yeah,
C.
and then you have the weather.
Terrible snow. Yeah, and the
Like,
weather.
everybody's schedules
Yeah.
align, and then it's going to be minus 25.
Yeah, it's hard to
You're
get the
like,
weather
let's
on the
not
same
go
schedule.
camping.
Yeah.
But I remember because Charlotte was editing it all, and you know, you get to the point where you watch it 10 times, and you're like, I actually have no idea if this is
You're
good
too
anymore.
close, yeah.
Like I thought it was good, but and then the night before we were gonna post it, we both got like extremely paranoid about are we gonna get canceled? Was this mean? Like, is that okay
Right.
that we're showing this? Like,
Who's watching? YouTube, you know.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Kind of
yeah,
game on, right?
And it's
Yeah.
such a cool excuse to explore random niches of ski culture. I was watching your ski drawing episode yesterday, and it was just so cool because I've actually never ski drawed before, and it was like the vibe that you all were able to capture was pretty unique and something that you don't like. I mean, yeah, the cowboys and ski culture just don't really mix that much.
yeah. It was wild, and it was exactly how we portrayed it. Like you walk in and you're like, what is this
Right.
place? What's going on? But I was really stoked we could capture that because that was the one thing that I sent it to all the cowboys and everyone on the ranch, and that was the first thing they said was like, this captures exactly what it's about. I was stoked. I can't believe you haven't done it
That
yet.
also
I feel like
seemed
that's your
shocking to
vibe.
me.
I was lined up one year and I had this cowboy that somebody at the resort had connected us, and he's like, "You Griffin?" I was like, "Yep." He's like, "Cool, I got a really fast horse." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, that'd be great.
Like,
Is that good?
yeah, I guess that's a good thing because it's all about the horse, right? It's
It's
Well,
a team
kind of,
sport.
yeah. It's both.
yeah.
It's both.
How do you
Yeah.
find the cowboy? Like, is there like a website or
I
like skijoring.com and you try to?
Ski Jor Tinder.
Yeah, it's
there's a Facebook group.
Skijor Tinder. It's not a bad idea actually.
There's a Facebook group, but there's a lot more cowboys than there are there's a lot more ski
Right.
racers than there are cowboys. So you really have to sell yourself.
Do you
And you have to,
pay the
you know-
cowboy? No, it's just a part.
No,
it's-
no.
You partner up for the event.
But they're trying
Right.
to find the best skier, and they kind of hold all the cards.
Yeah.
So you have to really
And they're probably much
you know,
better.
give them
at,
your
like, a
resume.
cattle auction. They can eye things up from distance a lot better than skiers probably can.
Totally.
You know, they're like, this one,
Yeah.
this one's gonna be fast.
And
Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, and as a skier, you can mess up a lot more things than them. They just
Right.
kind of have to go straight and fast. The skier is like, if you drop a ring, if you drop the rope, if you miss a gate. So they really don't want to be
I
with
believe it.
bad skiers.
I believe it. I've looked into it multiple times of just like footage of doing it, and I'm like, it's a hard pass for me. So I'm sure it's
It's
really
pretty
fun
fun.
if you don't really
Pretty fun.
crash. It.
Oh, yeah.
You're ripping. Like those horses are flying.
Yeah. Yeah. I hardly saw
Yeah.
any crashes though. It's
Haven't seen
mostly,
the
if
ski.
anything,
Yeah.
you drop the rope.
I'd probably wrap my arm in it, get pulled. Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
So was your cowboy or cowgirl pleased with your performance, or were you invited back?
Okay.
Yes, I was invited back. I don't know why, because I did not do well. But I think just
Good
because we
vibes,
got
yeah,
along really
good
well.
vibes.
I had one, yeah. I had one cowgirl and two cowboys, and the two cowboys were, well, the cowgirl worked at the ranch, and she's amazing. The cowboys are rodeo athletes in steer wrestling, which they told me that, and I was
Right.
like,
Oh,
"What is
that's
steer
legit.
wrestling?"
Yeah, wrestling a cow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild. They literally jump from a horse onto
Also
the
not for me.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're also so Western. So like they take their hat off to like
Right.
introduce themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
that
Cowboy.
whole-
Cowboy and cowgirl manners.
Yeah, it's good culture too. It's just cool. I don't know. The whole rodeo scene is very
Yeah.
so community oriented. And I felt like your episode
Mhm.
really like captured that, like that vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really fun. The only thing is the runs. I don't know if this came across, but they're literally like 10 or 12 seconds.
Oh,
They're very.
yeah, I thought it
short.
was gonna be like a minute or or like 30 seconds.
I
at least.
no, I did too. They're incredibly short, so it's kind of a bummer because you wait around for your run all day, and
It's
then
like
you're
drag
going for
racing.
10 seconds, then it's
You're like,
over.
"Oh,
Yeah,
I guess that's it. Go home now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So have you pivoted completely to professional ski joring, or
Are we gonna go back?
Not at all. I'm not a Jim Ryan. I know he has. No,
Yeah,
I had
Jim's
a
winning
good
belts
time.
out there, huh?
I would maybe do it again. Oh yeah, yeah.
I know there's
Making money.
There's cash.
They're good
right?
money in ski joring.
There's
Really?
great
Huh.
money. Oh yeah, I think like first place can be
Oh,
up
sweet.
to like $5,000, and you do the circuit.
10 seconds for
all around the
$5,000.
West.
Maybe I am a ski jorer.
Yeah.
I could be into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's a cool episode. And do you have some other episodes coming up that are kind of touching into different kind of areas of skiing or?
Yeah, we're gonna show more of the behind the scenes of Kings and Queens. Because of my injury, our schedule kind of got pushed, so these will all
Right.
be coming out in the fall now. We are gonna do an episode with Andrew Whiteford. I'm really excited about.
One of the
He's
all-time
gonna.
dudes out here, the absolute man,
Oh yeah,
fellow co-host of
Yeah,
King and
he's
Queens. Shout
incredible.
out Andrew.
yeah, and he just does like the
Yeah.
most insane stuff, but he's like so welcoming and unassuming. Like
Yeah,
you
never.
wouldn't know it. Like really thoughtful about everything he does. So that'll be cool to like
Yeah.
get in his mind.
You're
a little
doing that
bit.
in Jackson?
Um,
Cool.
we're doing that in Jackson. Yeah. Hoping to ski a line that I've never skied
Yeah.
before. We'll see. And besides that, hoping to do something a little more mountaineery with Kate. Actually, she comes down here. And then the dream is to start
Yeah.
traveling.
I was going to ask if there's like a dream
Yeah.
episode that you have.
Oh man, I don't know specifically, but like in general for the series, the dream is to just be able to like travel all over and meet people
Be
all
your own
around the
boss.
world and be your own boss and kind of turn it into more of like a travel
Totally.
culture show, you know?
So when you're,
Yeah.
you know, when you're coming up with these ideas, like, are you pitching to sponsors? Are you those are the people that are kind of helping you guys get everything together and get the funding for travel and production and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Usually I go to the sponsors in the summer with a list of like 5 to 7 episodes and being like, these are all the options we could do. We're going to pick 3 of these. And then they buy in at a price or not. And then we're all on our own. So once they hand over the money, we're doing all the production and
There really is the dream.
everything like that.
You're like, all right, cool. Now let's figure it out. We have the tools.
Yeah.
And we have the funds. We're ready to go. Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, it's in the first year I had to make like specific pitches for each episode. And now that we're a little more established, I can kind of just do a general pitch and be like, this is generally what we're gonna do.
Do you see skiing kind of turning to more of a, you know, self-produced content or, you know, kind of each episode that you do is like basically a mini ski movie of sorts? Yeah.
I think so. I think a lot of skiers now are getting into
Seems
the
that way,
YouTube game.
And it's great.
Yeah.
Like it's great content. Yeah.
I like it. I think it brings out a little more creativity, a little more variety from what we're seeing.
Yeah.
So I hope
And like
so.
you're saying, you kind of have control of the end product and shape the whole story. Show like how much work went into something and not just like, oh, there's the 30 seconds of action that you took an entire season to get.
And that's got to be super valuable for you and the sponsor. It's like a win-win, right? Because you know, you get to kind of put more of your, you know, personalized self on, you know, whatever you're producing, and then you know, in theory that would, you know, kind of boost translate more and have more followers and people that are tuning in not just to see, you know, 12 different skiers, but to see Veronica ski, you know, like, or what Veronica's doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, like even our trip, I feel like it wasn't like the most epic skiing ever, but people loved it because it just showed the whole process of like finding a zone, figuring it out, packing your stuff, get like camping, like literally
In
way
this
out
tent.
there, like
In this
in this tent.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about like your process is becoming a pro skier. Do you think it's easier to be a pro skier now than 10 years ago because you have all these different avenues? Even though, you know, budgets are probably tighter and there's more people fighting for them, there's also, it's not just like magazines and movies. Like there's all these different outlets. So do you think it's a better time to be a pro skier?
Well, you could probably tell me more.
I'm the host.
What do you think?
His opinion does not matter.
I am curious to hear what you think, though.
I think it's a unique time to be a pro skier because you can be more creative. You're in charge of your own outlets. You have direct communication with your audience. It's not like you're 100% relying on somebody else promoting you. Like that level of self-promotion is open to everybody. The flip side of that is that like if you don't really like self-promotion, it's not as good of a time to be a professional skier. Like some people are so good at just self-promotion and
branding,
being a narcissist, and that was a joke. But yeah, just have that like inherent self-promotion that's you didn't necessarily need like 10, 15 years ago. So I think it's like there's perks and drawbacks to it. I mean, like if Candide Thovax like hit the scene right now, like
Right. Would he blow up on social media or not? I mean, probably would the
Yeah,
skiing,
maybe
but
that's not a great.
would he have as big a following as like
Yeah, I mean, he was ahead of the
other?
game, big time, like by
Yeah.
a decade.
Yeah. I would say I think there's more, like you said, there's more options, there's more avenues to go down, but I also feel like you can't just be a skier. Like you can't only focus on your skiing. You have to be producing content. You have to be a content creator or like start a business of some sort or something because the money is tight and I don't know. You have to be doing more, I think, than just being an
Yeah,
athlete,
unless
you
you're
know?
like a once in a generation skier,
Right.
you have to be
Mhm.
good at a lot of things.
I mean, Griff, you were kind of ahead of the
Mhm.
game in that, though. You know, like you always made yourself. I feel like that's why you've had such staying power in the scene is that you've made yourself more than you're more than a line. You write, you work in the industry. You
Yeah,
like a
versatile
mentor
for
to-
sure.
Yeah, you're versatile. You're a Swiss Army knife.
And it's nice, I think, now that you have, like, you can pursue what's true to your personality rather than just like,
Mhm.
okay, I can write, take photos, make videos, like whether it's YouTube or podcasting or whatever, like you have a lot more resources to like use than you
Mhm.
did, yeah, 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's interesting for
on that
sure.
note, I have one more guest question. Not even going to try to pronounce. No, it's from Tammy. Yeah,
Oh, we
Tammy's
love
the best.
Tammy.
Tammy, take it away.
Hi, my name is Tammy Razinger, and Veronica is one of my closest friends here in Jackson. And what I want to know from Veronica is, what is one thing that you wish you would have known when you were younger, something you wish somebody would have taught you, that you know now and you can pass on to the next generation?
She gave you away a little bit because yesterday I was hanging out with her and she goes, "Is anything exciting coming up?" I was like, "Oh, this." She goes, "Anything else?"
Are you doing a podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a random question to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, anything I wish I knew when I was younger. Hmm. I think maybe just like being in the moment and skiing and enjoying the process. I feel like as pros chasing our goals, you can always be like, it's either a success or a
Yeah.
failure. Did I ski this line? Did I land this air? But just like being out in the mountains every day with your friends is so awesome. And I always go back to my first few years here when I was waiting tables at night and skiing with my friends every day. And those are like some of my favorite memories skiing. And I think when I was there, I kept like wishing I was at the next level, like getting sponsors and doing it professionally. But I wish I was
Just
just
taking
more
a
in the
second
moment.
to actually enjoy it versus thinking about what's next.
Exactly.
Yeah. Easier said than done in most things. Yeah.
True.
I mean, you have so many special opportunities. I feel like when you're a pro skier, that it's easy to get caught up in the business side of things, or like, is this going to make it? Is it not? Are we going to be able to do what we set out to do? Turns into business real quick, and you forget that
Yeah.
it's supposed to be fun, right? Skiing is fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Should we take it straight to the dome?
Let's take it straight to the dome.
All right. This is a series of rapid-ish fire questions. You can unpack them as much as you want, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
What-
yeah.
What do you think Seth Morrison is doing right now? In general,
The whole goal of this podcast is to draw Seth out and eventually have
we're
him
gonna
on.
try to track down Seth Morrison one
Okay.
day.
I was gonna say hanging up.
Right.
clubhouse
That's
hats.
what I thought.
I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Just gathering
yeah.
his
No,
power.
I think that's accurate. There's some powder nearby, but he is certainly harnessing some sort of power source
Yeah.
wherever he is.
Yeah.
He's doing some weird ritual. with
exactly.
crystals.
Lights are definitely off.
Yeah.
All right. Fuck, marry, kill, Snowbird, Jackson, Palisades. So the way this works is you
Oh.
get to ski one in average conditions the rest of your life, You get one all to
Okay.
yourself in perfect conditions, and one you never have to ski again.
Okay. Kill Snowbird.
Snowbird marketing department, take note.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all in good fun.
Thanks. I'll say fuck Palisades, marry Jackson. And my reasoning for that is because I feel like average conditions at Jackson ski better than average conditions at Palisades. Palisades is kind of
Yeah.
on or off.
It just
I feel
made the Jackson marketing people very happy too.
Very happy. Very happy.
like.
Right?
It's my job.
All right.
Griff, I'm going to take this next question here since you're the.
Yeah. Carve your dreams, any vehicle you want, but you have to have a giant photo of yourself and your face on the side of it, and you're blasting Coldplay wherever you go.
That's what I said.
There's nothing wrong with Coldplay. It's
I
just,
said I was listening to Coldplay on the way
but
over here.
if that's all you can listen to and it's like blaring, it's just
But they've had a lot of eras,
Many
so you
eras.
wouldn't get tired
Yeah.
of them.
Coldplay fan. Check.
Yeah. God, it's really just the giant
that's
photo
right.
of your face.
And Fig Newtons on the windshield.
Yeah.
I think I would take it. Yeah, because then you can just kind of do it sarcastically.
Yeah, we've
make a
actually been
joke out of
wrapping
it.
your car while you've been inside
Yeah.
here, and you're going to come out with like a giant
Sick.
photo of your face.
All right. What's better fuel for you, love or spite? You know, if you're about to drop in, what's more likely to make you land a trick? Is it going to be someone telling you can't do it, or someone telling you that you can?
Can. Love is
Alright.
much better. Spite will make me
Right.
hate HUD things, but
Right.
not necessarily
Right.
land them.
You're at the top of Corbett's. You're like, you got this.
You're like, I'm
Everybody
totally gonna
thinks I
nail it.
have
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
You don't have like your coach from,
Yeah.
you don't have Jackie Peso being like, you don't have. Just kidding. We love you, Jackie.
No,
we
just
love
to
you,
be
Jackie.
yeah, no.
No, that's-
yeah, no.
That's good. I always like when people give me the love aspect. They're like, you got it. And I'm like, I do not. Wait till you see.
Right. yeah.
This is going to go
Right,
way
right.
different than you
Wait.
think it might. All right. If you have one person to ski with for the rest of your life, who are you choosing? Can't be, boyfriend, girlfriend,
Present company.
person. Yeah, present company doesn't count either. One person,
Oh,
one
one
ride or die.
person. Honestly, I was gonna say two.
It's a tie.
I might say
Aw.
Tammy because she makes every
Yeah.
day so fun. Like she's just always
Yeah.
cracking up.
It's nice to
and
have
we're
the
just
positive
having a
vibe
good
right
time.
out there.
Yeah,
like it's really bad out
You need
today.
that. And she loves skiing. Like even if it's a shitty day out there, she will go bell to bell. So
That's all
you
that
need
counts too.
that.
Like I've had some
Yeah.
amazing, some of my favorite days skiing ever with like just good people under like horrible conditions. And I've had like the greatest conditions and had like pretty bad days because of like the crew. So
Oh
that's,
yeah. Yeah.
Crew
yeah,
can
Tammy,
make the vibe or break the vibe
Yeah.
pretty hard.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, last one. What part of your success do you attribute to luck? What part do you attribute to hard work?
Oof. Well, I do think the harder you work, the
All
luckier you
right.
get.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's my
It's
answer.
a great answer.
We actually had one more, but Tammy literally asked it already. It was, what piece of advice would you give your younger self?
Yeah. Tammy was on
Unprovoked.
it. Tammy
Yeah.
seemed to know one step ahead of everybody what was happening. Must have known she was going to get
Yeah.
a call.
Another good reason to have her as your partner.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
your shred partner.
Yeah.
Awesome. B, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm at Veronica Bell, or on YouTube at Veronica Paulson. That's where you'll find the series that we were talking about. And on my own website, veronicapaulson.com, we have blogs, photos, t-shirts,
Merch.
all sorts of things. there.
Nice.
Merch.
What's the
Yeah.
title of the YouTube series? What do you call it? It's
You
whatever the
know-
episode is.
Yeah, we honestly, I've been calling it the series just
Yeah.
How'd
because
you
that's
come up with that
kinda
name?
how
Yeah.
we've been.
I like it.
Because I couldn't come up with anything else. We tried so many different titles, and none of them
ever-evolving.
seemed right. So
Well, that's awesome.
yeah.
We really appreciate you coming on. It was super fun to chat with you, and we'll see you out there.
Yeah, heal up.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
guys. This was super fun.
Back
Be
in the
back
dome.
in the dome.
Yeah, we'll have you back again here soon. All right.